Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, assorted members of the jury, I present, well, I don't present, Yo Destler presents, but he's not here today, Mythic Wars! In the bottom of the map, we have the one, the only, man with the brain, man showing us how to use the brain, and man also playing Thor. His name is Husk Soup. He comes from the Aces team, and he is here to ace his opponent, Shelty, the Snake Shelton, who's going to be showing us some Oranos today in this auspicious of occasions, Game number 1, Mythic Wars, group stages here. We have Oranos versus Thor on the map Bamboo Grove. Really, really interesting map for these two gods. Absolutely would never have called it. No one in chat called it either. When I saw the draft, I didn't show chat. I was like, which ones do you guys think it was? And they were saying things like, you know, Hades, Isis, all these other gods you might expect. And these guys say, no, no, no. We're going for weird in this one. Now, some of you guys might have forgotten who Shelty is. So let me just remind you, just in case you guys have been AWOL for the past, I don't know, 6, 7, 10 years. One of the best one-handed Age Mythology players to have ever existed. He's got 2 hands, but he refuses to use it, mostly spending his days playing Age Mythology like this, having a nice think while microing APM of upwards of 695 is what I've heard last. I'm just kidding. But he's he's been playing Age Mythology since its inception, basically, and he's had a lot of success in tournaments over the years. Definitely not as serious as he might have once been, but he can definitely tango with the best of him. He's been at the top of the ladder before in Retold. And he's a solid player. Soup, on the other hand, really needs no introduction, but he is going for his Dwarven Armory opening here. Nearly all dwarves, just build himself a couple of gatherers here. I have been seeing this opening a little bit where you go for immediate copper mail, into copper shields, into copper weapons, call it a day. Very late advance time. When it comes down to it, if you're playing Oranos, or if you're playing Atlantean versus Norse, the more I think about it, the more I think, well, it's a little bit challenging to get a whole bunch of stuff done early on, depending on where the gold mines are. This map here, very good actually for Shelty to be doing what he's going for. But you might want to take a little bit of a later route to the classical age. It allows you to set up some sky passages without setting you too far behind. Allows you to get, say, things like pickaxe, hand axe in. A 420 advance time is really, really good for Oranos in the current meta with the way people are playing in certain matchups. You got to know which matchups you can actually make it work and which matchups it doesn't. But it's a good way to start the game off. Meanwhile, temple up for Soup on the back here. And he's going to be advancing fairly shortly. I'll be interested to see if he goes through Freya here, because I think that would be what he was planning to do on this map before he saw the Oranos, but he is deciding for Seti going to be the god of choice. As he finishes up with that copper weapons, gets himself 3 villagers, a 3 villager advantage to kick this game off. And there's that classical age through for Shelty, as he's going to be dropping a military barracks and a counter barracks. So we'll see how he's going to go. It is vitally important that he does get himself out Caraballister and Catapultis here. I don't actually particularly like opening up with a military barracks here against Thor if I'm going to go through Prometheus, because you've got the Prometheans to frontline. You've got the Catapultis to frontline. You don't really need a Murmillo. You just need more Caraballister and Catapultis and things like that just to ensure that everything stays in a good spot. But we are actually going to be seeing Shelty literally just opening Terma, Murmillo to kick this game off, which can be good, can be bad. We'll have to wait and see. And Soup is just taking his time for the time being. He'll be getting himself out some Hersa. Got a house on that left-hand corner of the map. He is getting bashed, or Shelty's getting bashed down on the right side of the map here as he loses an Oracle. Unless he wants to heroize it with Valor. Opts into not using that one there. Moving forward over here, trying to get some early pressure in onto this position. We do have a little cheeky ox cart through as the hero Murmillo does get converted in. That's going to be a dead troll to kick this game off with. There's a dead Oracle already happened and a dead troll as the dwarves getting pushed in. Are we going to see a villager pick? Oh, he does pick it. He barely picks. I thought the Healing Spring kept that one alive there. as the Hersa snipe down 2 Prometheans, offspring there, and Shelty continuing his onslaught here as now the raiding cavalry coming through. Got double longhouses in for Soup at the moment, but Shelty applying the pressure, setting the pace in this game, moving through here. He does have Shockwave. If he wants to use it here, he can, and he will be dropping it down, but the army comes through onto this position, picking up another villager here, but his Terma are not that useful at the moment. He needs some Caraballas, we've already mentioned it, to deal with those Hersa here. Just one hero Caraballister would be more than enough here to actually dissuade those Hersa from coming forward. He's still charging in, still trying to get damage done onto that wood line here. Every time he gets turned back around, those raiding cavalry manage to get damage done onto the Terma. And Soup very smartly takes his 2 kills, retreats back out, and Shelty going to have to rethink about the whole thing. As now we've got Berserk, Hersa, all starting to come out. Another longhouse on the way for Soup here. We do see a cheeky little sky passage over onto this side as well.
Yo.
And this army from Soup is starting to look a little bit scary. When you don't have any real answer for infantry units with what you've got going on here, those Hersa start hitting hard. They got a pretty decent buff recently where they went up to 6x versus myth units. And I think that was enough to set them to a point where they actually feel like they can threaten those Prometheans a little bit more. But they still have to deal with the fact that there's a ton of units that kill them, like Axemen, like Caraballister, like Throwing Axemen. There's a whole bunch of units that just absolutely shred through the Hersa. As the Terma sneaking through here, got to be careful with them. 5 speed versus 6 speed. It's kind of like trying to raid with Chariot Archers, but the Chariot Archers don't do that much damage. And now the raiding cavalry in hot pursuit here, chasing in. No reaction from Shelty with this part of his army. He's going to be losing another Terma here. Did I say that wrong? I said they're like Chariot Archers, but don't do that. Like Chariot Archers, but don't do that much damage. But very different. I think I might have said that. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. Nonetheless, Shelty now ready to take some sort of a fight. He does have a slight population advantage in terms of military here, but still doesn't have any upgrades. No armory upgrades here versus fully upgraded units. The Terma getting dove in on by those raiding cavalry with those Murmillo, able to start getting some serious damage done. There is a shockwave available if need be. Population here standing relatively strong for Soup at the moment, but both players are dropping incredibly quickly here as the Terma numbers have dropped completely, and Soup manages to win the fight, and Shelty has to pull back here. I'm still waiting to find out where those Caraballister are for Shelty. He absolutely needs them. And Soup knows he doesn't really have to do anything here. He just won that fight so hard that he can kind of just sit back, re-heal up his units. There's a couple of really low HP units here. Re-heal up his units, and he's going to be in a good position. He did have to drop that Dwarven Mine down, so he will be moving out onto a gold mine relatively soon here. But same too is same too for Shelty. That's going to happen relatively soon as well. But Shelty's still trying to sort of head first bash into this Norse army that is just so strong. Look at it. It's got fully upgraded units here. Now we've got the medium Murmillo in. There's now Shelty trying to control those Terma in onto the back line. Good control there from Soup to pull those Throwing Axemen around. But Shelty on top of it here, almost sniping the last Throwing Axemen. But after all is said and done, is this going to be enough? It looks like the answer is no. The army too strong here for Soup. And I have to be asking the question, if you're going to be going for this sort of a comp, why not Oceanus? Why not Oceanus? We'll see if Shelty's going to make any sort of adaptation in this game. He's a legacy player through and through. And in Legacy, Oranos was a one strategy type of god. You'd build Terma, tech switch into more Terma, and then if the Terma didn't work, you'd find yourself with a Titan, and you'd win the game. But that doesn't work like that on Retold at all. There's a longhouse coming down. Great Hall. We've got the bronze weapons. We've got the medium infantry on the way as well. Couple more military buildings onto the front here. As the Mermillo charging in. Yet again, a decent start to the fight here for Shelty. He still does have this shockwave, but when you're using shockwave against melee units, it doesn't really do a whole lot. Unless you've got, I guess, Caraballos to get the damage done. But nonetheless, the Mermillos here, is it going to be enough? Is the big question. A huge amount of units queued up for Soup here as well. The population for Shelty is dropping incredibly quickly here. And he still refuses to make a single counter infantry unit in this game. Not one. All I want to see is one Caraballister, please. I am praying to the Shelton gods. Inform him of the Caraballister. I don't think it's enough at this point. He is very far behind. And he taps out. GG, well played by Soup, taking the first game there 1-0. Shelty tried a little something here, but he just could not quite make it work. He lost a couple of Terma early on, and I think, and just not having the Caraballister out, I think is the big problem here. Because if you do, and you just make it, you just get Caraballister, everyone you get out, you just make heroes with the Valor, then all of a sudden this army here doesn't look as scary. Yes, there's going to be some raiding cavalry you have to deal with, but then catapulties are really good. You've also got shockwave as well to keep them off if need be. Box formation, also your friend, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But unfortunately for Shelty, he does not find the win here. And fortunately for Soup, he was playing against a armless opponent in Shelty, and he takes the first win. It's a best of 5. We'll see if this one can be worked out here going into game number 2. Or if Soup is going to dominate with his big brain even more. Alrighty, game number 2. As we are back with some more of the shenanigans here. Soup taking a pretty dominating game number 1 victory. Moving into game number 2 on Erebus. As we've got Zeus for Soup and Set for the Sheltonator. Having a bit of a shaky start to kick this one off. Doskopos just checking things out, making sure that no funny business is going on. And we will be seeing the monument to the villagers coming down as well. As the priest, coming up to the top here, Shades. Those are going to be a little bit unhappy. Holy damage. Holy damage. Holy damage. Don't these guys have like a negative multiplier versus heroes?
And which?
And if not, why not? If not, why not?
Enito.
They're a myth unit. Look. Myth unit. It's immune to earthquake though. Nonetheless.
Greek.
Shelty back into the center of the map. He's going to try and convert these balls. He's already down to next to no HP. Very dangerous to be sitting here. Now, Soup has scouted this area already. It's unlikely for him to return back in here unless he notices that the balls are disappearing. Meanwhile, into the main base of Soup. Is he doing anything special? No upgrades, no big crazy build order shenanigans here from him. It's definitely one of the maps that you could do something a little bit offbeat. Say, if you've got a shared gold mine, wood line, you can go for like a fast pickaxe, hand axe build order or something like that. Works nicely. But equally, if you have this sort of a situation, you can get a really fast advance, really fast second town center. Enjoy that. We are seeing a bit of a delay on this house from Soup. Not the worst thing in the world to put 2 villagers onto a house. Not the best thing either. Effectively, you're probably paying, I don't know, 5-ish extra wood for building the house with 2 villagers rather than 1, just on idle time. But he definitely needs that up so he can get the villager out. But Hermes going to be the god of choice. Temple coming up for Shelty, as he will be advancing relatively soon. I'm a bit surprised he hasn't... Well, he hasn't been... Wait. Has he been not empowering his... I don't think he has. I think he hasn't been empowering his food here. Oop. Jason on the way, taking the same punishment. He wants the relic. Tusk of the Iron Boar. Oof. Yeah, you don't want to leave that one there. Look at the punishment this Jason is taking, though. Oof. That's the biggest oof. Soup now through to the classical age. He's got the resources for a town center. There is a nice one down the bottom here with a nice back gold mine here. Up the top, not the best. In fact, town centers on this map, just not the best in general. And we are going to be seeing Soup going for that top town center. I'm surprised to see that. Does he not know the town center is here? He doesn't. He doesn't see it. You could come up here and sneak this one, for example, but Centaur coming forward. There will be a Pharaoh ready to greet it. Oh. Oh. Now the damage comes in. Centaur hurt, battered, bruised, runs away. And we're just going to see some health coming back over here. Another relic getting picked up onto this one. He does have the Kopesh of Horus. Very, very nice. And Shelty taking a town center as well. Both players actually going for some pretty rubbish town centers here, as the Centaur will wander in here and just confirm what's going on. Gonna take a little bit of damage. 1 smack, 2 smack. $33 HP and a dream remaining. Looks like the town center for Soup will come up first. This is normally bad for the set player. Or for Egyptian player. Reason is because with the empowerment from the fairy, you get the town center up somewhere in the vicinity of 15 to 30 seconds faster than normally with a good build order. Faster than the Greek player. But on a map like this, I think Soup is maybe 15 seconds earlier. But nonetheless, if you're getting it up after the Greek player, it means you don't actually catch up on eco. You're not in front on eco. You're not able to find those advantages there. So we'll see what Shelty's going to do to make something happen at the moment. It might be worth it for him to actually build a bunch of monuments here and actually start considering a little cheeky animal eating sort of shenanigans. He's got a lot of chickens in the main base, but realistically not that much hunt at all. Soup's going to be happily eating boars out in the middle of the map. This is something that is generally pretty risky. But with the way that Shelty's playing this, and maybe Soup has read this, maybe he hasn't. He hasn't seen any armor, he hasn't seen any barracks, he hasn't really scouted it. But if a whole bunch of spearmen were to sneak through here, potentially, if they realize that they can hit this position, they could sneak in around here. You could cast vision and shifting sands onto this. Lots of different options. But he's not going to be going for that. He's going for a fast heroic. And we'll see how things go from there. There's the priest getting beaten back. Still 12 HP on that center. He could turn and just sack the priest to finish the centaur if it might be worth it. But nonetheless, path blocking. And sniping a villager beautifully there by Soup. Great control, great micro. Loses the centaur, however. That's worth it. Only had 12 HP. for Hades Shade. Getting sniped down onto that middle section there. Medium cav. Centaurs coming in. All the good stuff. Effectively, there's this unit composition that is quite tricky for Egyptians to deal with, which is Hippias Centaur. Just on the fact that you want to build Spearmen into the Hippias, and you want to build Priest into the Centaur, but it's really tough to like micro it such that your Spearmen are surviving against the rain of arrows and the Priests are able to kill off the Centaur and all the other good stuff. Nonetheless, farms starting to come up. We will be seeing the Winged Messenger in as well. Got a little bit of damage there from Supers. Shelty has fallen behind by like 7 villages. Some of that is in this train time on the upgrade here. What's that? 1 minute and 15 seconds. So 5 villages. It's pretty close, but definitely hurting a lot as Super's just continuing to push in and get damage done onto this position. Shelty going to sneak around here potentially and drop a Migdol stronghold on this spot. Lots and lots of villages on wood, obviously wanting to make some chariot archers, it looks like, as the Pegasus coming through will be spotting the Migdol stronghold immediately here. As the army for Soup on the case, going to be bolting the Pharaoh there as well to slow the Migdol down. 14 seconds for this one to actually complete here. This game may be ending on in this exact moment here, but Ancestors gets dropped. One Centaur go. Oh, the Priest missed. Oh, the Priest missed again. 1 HP. It's poisoned. Okay, it survives. Ancestors down. Ceasefire clicked. Army retreating back. Migdol is up, however. Chariot Archers to come through. It's probably going to be Spearman Chariot Archer here on out for Shelty. We'll see if he can make it work as the Spirited Charge, Sylvan Lord technologies coming through. The minions here, if they can get some villager kills at this point, this will be absolutely huge. And we are seeing the villagers turning around, getting some shanking in. 1 villager down. That's it. 1 villager down, maybe. 2 villagers? 2 villagers down? 3 villagers? Okay, that's at least a little bit of something there from Shelty. Gets a little bit of value from that Ancestors. Nice play. Thank you for the raiding party there, Deities of Death. Does Shelty not know about the super secret set strategy? No, I heard, for those of you wanting to know what everybody's talking about nowadays, it's the super secret set strategy is you start with Spearmen and then you wait and see what your opponent's going to build. And then when you watch what they're building, you tech switch into the counter to what they build, which is more Spearmen. And then following that up, you also then slap down another barracks to get more Spearmen out. Just in case anyone was wondering. That's the meme at the moment. It's pretty good. Spearmen are pretty strong. As Shelty wandering forward here, sniping some villagers onto this position. These chariot archer raids are always going to be somewhat effective if there's not a hefty amount of cavalry out. As the Priests manage to get in on top of the Centaur polemark onto the back, they're getting some serious damage done. As the Spearmen pulling back around onto the top here. Scorpion Men in. You've got to be careful not to throw those away against those heroes. Losing 1 Scorpion Men there to the Heracles as the other Scorpion Men going to go down as well. But he does manage to pick up a lot of Hippias here. Soup is in what looks to be a little bit of trouble. He's running out of gold. He wants to go to the Heroic Age. He's going up through Dionysus. Villagers going down. Yet to see Shelty getting himself the upgrades like ballistics and anything else like that. There's the Chariot Archers charging forward here. Nice little play there. Gets straight on top of the Centaur. Picks off 1 Centaur, 2 Centaur. Soup not paying attention. 3 Centaur down. Villagers getting sniped down into the main base here as well. Absolute chaos for Soup at the moment. Shelty, on the other hand, he knows there's a gold mine down the bottom. He knows there's a gold mine at the top. On his own map as well, he sees 1, 2, 3 gold mines. So he's got to know, well, there has to be gold villages somewhere. And guess what? They're on both positions. There's not a wrong move to make at the moment, but you have to be making a move right here to get some damage done. Because once Heroic Age comes in, that's going to mean some access to Peltast, access to, I mean, maybe just maybe Apollo would have been a better shout here for some Manticore. It's the Chariot Archers coming through. Hippias, however, there's 6 of them. Probably not enough to take out this amount of Chariot Archers here. There's the farms coming up all over the place here. Buildings going down onto this position as the siege towers to roll forward. A couple of Prodromus now coming in as well for Shelter, for Soup. I like the idea of getting those Prodromus out, but there's got to be a ton of Spearmen getting built here for Shelter. He's got 2 barracks only. I want to see some more. We see the vision getting dropped down. What does he see? He sees down to the bottom all of those villages there. He does have a Shifting Sands. Decides to turn back with the Chariot Archers. He is coming up to the top. There are going to be a couple of Hippias up here to say, get out of this position. Shelty not paying attention, running straight in to those cavalry units, taking huge amounts of damage here. And Shelty pulls back. Needs to regroup. He's got a whole bunch of siege towers. There's no ceasefire, so a Shifting Sands with the siege towers onto a potential town center or something like that in the main base, top base up here to take down all those farms, could work out well for him if he wants to go absolutely insane. There's another Migdol coming down for Shelty. He's at nearly full population. Oh, he's at full population, actually. Third town center could come down at any point. Maybe grabbing this one wouldn't be bad. This one as well. It's the army wandering forward here. Shelty can definitely be considering taking this one. Upgrade-wise, Soup is missing a lot of upgrades, but he's getting those unique ones. Thracian horses on the way as the Hydra taking a huge amount of damage. There's the bronze in. Is this going to be enough, though? I don't actually think it is enough to win this fight. There's so much population here for Shelty. He's got a ridiculous advantage. The Spearmen just doing crazy damage. Those are heavy Spearmen as well, with armory upgrades to boot. And Soup has to retreat away. He can't stay here anymore. Now Shelty has got all the initiative. He can Shifting Sands if he wants. He can go Mythic Age and get a third town center. He can try and plant a Migdol in the center of this map to secure this gold mine as well, giving him a 4 gold mine to 2 gold mine advantage. As the Chariot Archer is moving back up to the top side of the map. Shelty made this mistake once already. He wants to pick off a villager or 2, but this is yet again another mistake as the Hippias are going to come through 6.1 speed and a dream here to catch out those Chariot Archers. He needs the rest of his units up here. The Soup's up to 170 population right now. Villager differential is still in favor of Soup. You can't count him out in this game. So far the fights have been going Shelty's way, but the economy is looking good for Soup. He's got some great army here. All he really needs is the armory upgrades, and he's probably going to be able to start trading equal or even winning these fights. He's getting himself Dionysia, getting Olympian parentage. As the Spearman charging forward. Got to be careful with these fights here. He does have a really, really nice choke point to use. And he will be doing that little flip around there. You always love to see it, but the Centaur, they're going to be able to get that special off yet again, get huge damage done onto those Spearmen. The Priest getting damage done. Good pullback there. Priest still going forward as the front line does look like it melts. Horus, however, is clicked up for Shelty. He decides his angle for victory in this game is Horus. Heavy range soldiers on the way as well, though. Soup going for a town center. A Migdol stronghold coming down late here as the Hades Shades on the way. Chariot Archers to come in yet again. Soup is going to be able to chase these Chariot Archers away, but a huge amount of damage onto the villagers. Does he not have ballistics still? He still doesn't have, no, he still doesn't have ballistics. He's missing these villagers as they're running away. And now the Hippias in hot pursuit here. He's going to try and pull away. He spots the Migdol stronghold here. And now Soup might get collapsed in onto, but these are spearmen. His Toxotes is going to be completely fine here. The Chariot Archer is getting targeted down by Hippias. The spearmen getting targeted down by Toxotes. The Migdol stronghold 18 seconds away from completion. It's not going to be enough. But now the Mythic Age is in. A big tornado on top of these archers is going to be absolutely huge. Up to the top side, town center up for Shelty. He's grabbed a gold mine. There's not that many gold mines left on the map. Avenger coming forward. Spearman charging in. Siege Tower is tanking beautifully on the front here as well. You have to remember that as the Avenger comes through, getting huge damage, but does end up getting sniped down by the Odysseus, by the Centaur Polemark. Tornado onto the main town center. We have not seen that usage in a very, very long time. It should kill off the town center. Actually, I don't even know if it does. He doesn't get the full damage onto it. Does he kill it off? No. 500 HP. Hippias onto the back line here. There's a couple of spearmen, however. There's plenty of population. Soup is struggling for pop at the moment. Siege towers to come through. Soup trying to pump out units. He's got huge amounts of resources in the bank. In classic Soup fashion, 2 stables, 6 archery ranges, and a need for infrastructure very, very direly. He is making the Hydras, though. Stable going down. Spearman on the charge here. Catapults rolling forward. Jelty doesn't care about gold mines here. He says, I want to fight you. Let's go. I don't think there is a fortress up for Soup, so he can go Mythic Age. You can get Hera out. That might be enough. Or at least for him to survive and get that center gold mine. Take a look at the gold situation. 2,000. 1,000. He's got 3,000 gold left. Shelty charging into this fight here. He's got so much of a population edge here. Hera clicked up, but doesn't matter. Catapult coming in. He's clicked up onto this town center over here. We see fortified town centers on the way as well. Couple more catapults coming through. Shelty could definitely use himself that fortified town center as well. Still hasn't gotten ballistics. Still hasn't gotten ballistics. And these Chariot Archers are still doing work. Absolutely insane. As the town center for Soup falls. He will get this. The big thing here is there's a big turnaround with Lightning Storm. A really big turnaround coming. It's still a minute away, and Soup has to keep taking sub-optimal trades moving forward. How are the armory upgrades looking? Shelty, nearly full bronze. Soup, still nada. 0. Zip. As the Hippias continuing to charge in. These spearmen don't have their spear upgrade, do they? They're missing both of those upgrades. 1 monument and a dream for Shelty. 1 monument. And Shelty decides, oh, it's time to retreat back. He's not quite able to break through this. Champion Spears coming through. He's only got 3 barracks. Oh, he's got 5. He's building some more on the front line here. The Lightning Storm about to come down. Soup's got 0 military. And Shelty's about to have 0 military as well. He's just hanging out. He's just saying, hey, kill off all my guys. I don't mind. The population dropping drastically. Up to the top, there's 0 gold left. Soup's got nothing left in the tank. It's 60 population versus 15. I almost think 1 Bellerophon, and maybe Soup can bring himself to get this gold mine back. He's sending his villagers in. The game is still tight. A spammage of Medusa here. There's 176 favor. Medusa spam might be able to bring him back here. He's on the gold mine. However, Shelty is pumping spearmen in now. And we see a ceasefire. A desperation ceasefire. 30 seconds of gold gathering. You do the math. 1.06 times... Wait for it. 25. That's roughly how much gold he's going to be getting. And then all the villagers are going to die. Still getting more Medusa though. There's all the villagers on this gold mine. Now going down. Soup turns. Soup shanks. Soup loses everything. And Soup, in that moment, falls to the might of the no ballistics chariot archer. Can you believe it? Look, I'm not going to say, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in this game. This game was absolutely silly, but there's nothing about this game that makes any sense. There's nothing about this game that makes any sense. Everyone tells me archers suck until they have ballistics. That's number 1. Number 2, everyone tells me tornado gets used onto an archer line, not on a town center. That's 2. And number 3, everyone tells me you run from lightning storm when it goes down so you can dodge it. That's number 3. We got the highest level of Age of Mythology right now. Oh, this is fun. This is a lot of fun. Tournament jitters are absolutely real. You forget things. Everyone's just here for the competition, and Shelty here leveling the series 1-1. We'll get into game number 3 and see if Shelty can keep up more of the same or if Soup's going to find some of that Soup magic. Alrighty, we are into game number 3 as we're just trying to battle the Observer shenanigans here. In the right hand we have Odin for Soup, and in the left hand we have Loki for the Sheltonator. And we're on the map Marsh. A very marshy marshland. So funnily enough here, both players on their main god. I'm sure that Shelty was fairly aware of the fact that he's probably going to be playing against an Odin here with his Loki. So we'll see what he's been cooking up. He's definitely had the most success with Loki in Retold. He is a very, very powerful Loki player. So we'll see what he's going to be going for. But Soup as well, he has been having some ridiculous success as well as... What is this? Now, I kind of know what Soup is doing. I kind of know. The idea here from Soup is that he wants to grab as much food as he possibly can from these chickens, and while they do gather slightly slower, still relatively quick, he wants to grab as much food from these chickens as he possibly can so that he can great hunt his deer without needing to move. This is all about maximizing your profits and minimizing any wasted walking time. Now, he's gotten a little bit unlucky because the wood line's not too close to these chickens. And he is going to have to walk all the way over here anyways. But his plan is to basically be able to great hunt those deer before he hits the when he hits the classical age. The other way to go about this is to say, oh, we'll just go over onto the hippopotamus first. That's fine. We can great hunt the deer later. And all the other stuff. Maximizing the mythology. Hey man, I'm me like you and everybody else out there. What's a game of Age of Mythology without any mythology? It's called Age of Empires. We've seen it. It's great. It's fantastic. Black Lotus, we've got ourselves plus 10% bonus food from farms. Over here, we've got the Orgatherate. We've got the Peltast. Oh, sorry, Peltast. Pelt of Argus here. Line of Sight plus 6. Adamantine Shingles over here plus 200% of base for hit points. On this side, we got the Jirang plus 10%. 10. Anyways, over here we've got 9 cauldrons. Making those fortress type buildings, giving a little bit of extra stats. Unfortunately, not that useful here. And finally, System Robust in the corner there. Boosting up or reducing the villager cost. As both players taking somewhat of a slow route to the classical age. Heimdall. That gets a tick of approval right there. Heimdall. First, we've seen ballisticless chariot archers. Sorry. First, we saw a refusal to build Caraballister. Then we saw ballisticless chariot archers. And now we're going to be seeing Heimdall in the Norse Mirror. We have seen Heimdall having success before in the Norse Mirror, but it's not simple. The advantage is in the Einherji. And that's about it. Some people say that the upgrade Rigsthula is absolutely cracked, but I'm still yet to see it have like a significant impact on a game. The Einherji, however, this guy can turn fights if you use him well. That's the Freya for Soup. No surprises there. Going to be dropping double great hauls to kick the game off. And effectively, he's just going to open up with a bunch of raiding cavalry and just try and raid and contain Shelty. Shelty at the moment is just saying, hey, give me the water buffalo. I know I've got... Wow. Did you just pull everything off of wood? He absolutely did. Is that wild? I mean, he's going to be throwing all the houses down over here. Oh, this could go badly. This could go very badly. There's 2 trees here only to be hitting the villagers. And he does... Oh, the movement before the forest fire. The prediction. The prediction from Shelty. He's good to go. Couple of the herdmen starting to come out. 2 longhouses on the way as well. As the villagers back over here to grab the hippopotamus on the front here, however. A couple of herdmen and an Einherji, enough to scare off that Valkyrie for the time being. And Soup, he hasn't really built any units here. Like, he's got a handful of... Actually, never mind. He's been building raiding cavalry. I was going to say he hasn't really built anything. He hasn't committed to anything just yet. But he does have some raiding cavalry out. The herdmen are going to be extremely good. And we do have the Great Hunt getting dropped. And a Berserk for Shelty ends up falling. Does he drop the spy down somewhere? Still no spy. Now, here's the thing. The Einherji now moves at 3.8 speed. It used to move so slow that it was almost pointless to put it in your army. I actually found the most benefit... I was seeing some water buffaloes getting sniped down. The most benefit for the Einherji was actually moving in its own separate group behind my army. And it would just chase up the back. And I'd trigger the special ability from the back line. But now I think you can run it with your army a little bit, especially if you got throw an action in it. As the herdman moving around, this is a very, very spicy attack here from Shelty. There's not a whole lot of answers here for those 2-3 throwing axemen. As the villagers getting involved, he thinks these are spearmen here. They are not. They are herdmen. If those were berserks, it would have been a completely different story. As the raiding cavalry coming through, getting some damage done. More units for Shelty coming in from the rear, trying to speed walk these bad boys back to safety. But a good little win there for Soup, as Shelty gonna have to figure this one out. I mean, now he's actually building some berserks. Like, berserk raids make some sense there. But the Herdmen are so good versus these raiding cavalry. Now we see a hefty amount of throwing axemen as well. I'm actually not sure that Shelty can win these fights. As a stray Hersa sneaking in. He wants the Black Lotus. That's so ballsy. That's so absolutely ballsy. He's just like, let me just get in. I'll just sneak this. And we'll just... As the raiding cavalry now looking to potentially hit these villages over here as well. Shelty on the warpath himself, but with all the throwing axemen, these guys just don't do anything. And will Shelty notice this or not? He's running forward, picking off houses. Villagers starting to get hit. Doesn't notice it. Pulls back quickly here. Back to the town center. Gonna lose one villager. It's the army for Shelty in. He needs to use that special ability of the Einherry. There he goes. Now dropping it down a little bit late on the fight. A huge boost of damage, but Soup just goes, it's time to convert berserks. A huge hit to the economy, but wins the fight decisively here. And Shelty has to pull all the way back. Basically, Shelty here just has to say, you just converted berserks. I'm going to pull into my base. I'm going to have a 6-7 villager advantage here. And we're just going to build on that. We're just going to build on that. Because he needs to wait and get those resources in. Shelty moving over onto this gold mine. He could convert berserks himself if he wants to. Nice control from Soup with those throwing axemen himself here. This is a very tough thing to do when you're trying to defend down double the population. Villagers getting pulled off the line here. Shelty's making what seems to be a final stand. And he does tap out there as he realizes he's lost way too much. A game with some interesting decisions yet again. Shelty going for the never before seen, the premiere Herdman raid. Does not end up working out for him. He takes a huge loss. Also losing another sort of fight as well. I love the idea of making like a handful of Herdmen, but you can't go too much in onto them. We want to go for like maybe 10 Herdmen total, and then throw an axeman, and then raiding cavalry, and then berserk, and then myth unit, and Hersa, and everything else. But unfortunately for Shelty, he kind of overcommits on those Herdmen, and Soup reads it really nicely. He even makes, I mean, these are probably just villages that he converted. No, he's made berserks as well to cause even more problems. So yeah, making berserks against Herdmen is also really, really good. Anyways, a well-played game by Soup. That's 2-1 now for Soup. We'll see if he can clean this one up in 4 games or if Shelty can force a 5th game as we move into that next one right now. And we're back with game number 4. Match point here for Soup as he decides it's Fuxi time. Shelty, Hades time. The map is Ghost Lake. And we will see how this one's going to go. Relics on the map. We've got the Black Lotus over here. Over onto this side, we've got Cathara of Apollo. A couple of good relics. Up onto this side, System of Bast. Double villager relics here, actually. Movement speed on the villagers and cheaper villagers is always nice. And one final relic over on this corner, Gungnir Odin's Spear. Very, very nice. So, this Fuxi versus Hades matchup is a bit of a spicy one because there's a couple of things that you really have to be trying to avoid. So, big, tough thing to avoid, number one, from the Hades side is like an underworld Cyclops thing. It's not the best against Fuxi, much more of a scary strategy for Nuwa and Shenong because they don't have any bonus heroes, whereas the Fuxi's got Nijar early on. But nonetheless, some Cyclops underworld Toxotes shenanigans can be pretty powerful. And beyond all of that, falling into the trap of facing up against Hoplite Peltast, it's a difficult comp to beat because you've got Javelineer to beat Peltast. They don't beat Peltast. Peltast are beating on those Javelineers quite hard. You've got, which leaves you then with White Horse Cavalry, which do beat the Peltast, but the Hoplites are there to deal with them. Which then says, okay, well, now I have to build a unit to deal with the Hoplite, which is, well, Fire Archer. You don't really have anything else to deal with a infantry unit but the Fire Archer. Chukono as well, two options, both of those units ranged, countered by the Peltast. So, there are a couple of other options there for the Fuxi. Option number one would be Baihu spam. This can be really good at dealing with like a Archer Ball of Peltast, allowing your Fire Archers to function. Another way could be setting up a defensive position and making Ballista. That can be really good against any sort of Peltast spammage. There's the temple houses coming up, all the other good stuff. And now we've got Zhennu. I'm not exactly surprised about the Zhennu. That being said, there is another sort of option here for the Hades player that, you know, you have to be a little bit aware of when playing China, which is Hippias Toxotes. Hippias Toxotes, you can build yourself the Halberdier and the Javelineer to try and deal with it, but then you're just playing a micro game. It can be very, very difficult. Yeah, the Quailfu are being a bit funky as well. You need to just make sure you're clicking and telling them where to go because they need some training. As we see an Imperial Academy coming down very, very quickly here for Soup. Looks like he wants to get himself out a very quick Nijar. Relic's getting grabbed in very quickly as well as the Chillin starting to come through. Chillin spammage is also a very, very decent like way to play, but they are very, very heavy on the food cost. As the villagers look like they are indeed going for a town center. This is a naked town center from Shelty. This could be very, very bad here. As the Chillin comes through, gets some damage done. We've got the Pioneer on the way. Is Nijar out? No, not just yet. Soup a little bit late on that one. As the villagers pulling away from the time being here. He might just have to bail on this. Is he going to bring more villagers over? Another little bit of damage to come in. Ajax still sitting on this spot. Nijar now coming through. That's a dead villager. One down. Minotaur to be taken down as well. A potential restoration could come through here and keep him alive. As the villagers to retreat back. Achilles now coming in. Achilles is the answer to all of these pioneers, by the way. There's a restoration. Comes in. Pioneers going down. Nijar gets pulled back and Soup says, my job here is done. My job here is done. Well, here's an interesting question. Who wins this fight? It's actually going to be pretty close, I think. Because the Pioneers don't actually do that much. But no real micro from Soup here, or Shelty, to be honest. So finally, we see a nice little pullback micro from Soup, and the Chillin will get sniped down. He's going to try and pick off the Pioneer as well. Manages to do so. Onto the hunt, onto the back position. You're having a little bit of troubles with that food as well after the disastrous early game. And now a town center up for Soup. So how do you recover from these sorts of situations? I've been in this situation before recently where I've had a lot of damage done when I've been taking a second town center. It's been pretty rare for me to get into those situations. I tend to try and make my build such that I don't take this sort of damage because I don't like being in this position. But the question now is for Shelty, how do I bounce back from having this sort of disastrous early game? You know, your classical age god power is down. You lost 2 villages. You're hurting a little bit here, right? You're sitting in your base. Well, first answer is we've got to abandon any plan that we have. And we now just have to play what I like to call Age of Mythology. We have to play a game of Age of Mythology. We've got to put our chemo cap on. We're taking this game late game as far as we possibly can. We've got a beautiful large gold mine over here. And we have to be thinking, can we even grab this third town center and just have to sort of attempt to hold whatever your opponent's going to throw at you. Doskapos getting some shanks in. Good little bit of idle time caused. As Soup says, hey, I'm gonna take the advantage now. I did a whole bunch of damage. Let me get my third town center. Call it a day, and we'll see what you can do. Some hoplites coming out now for Shelty. Did I say Shelty for Soup? No? Hoplites coming through for Shelty, that's right. He's going to look for a little bit of damage here. Will this get spotted? Soup barely misses it as the hoplites do manage to get in on top of these villagers. Little bits of damage to start coming through. Smack, smack, smack. There will be a couple of dead villagers here, actually. This is the type of damage that Shelty absolutely needs to get done here. Is that 2 villager kills? And then he's out of there. Sure, the Nejar is going to probably pick off a hoplite, but the rest of those hoplites are out of here. And more hoplites coming through. And Toxodis as well. I don't know if Shelty got the memo here about the Fire Archer problem that could be coming, but Soup has not reacted to it just yet. He wants Heroic Age. He's got the resources for it. He's eating his Peach Blossom Spree. He's actually turned it to wood. Are you kidding me? No, he's not gathering it. Never mind. Okay. It's just troll. Doesn't have an armory down just yet. Needs that armory in. There's the hoplites coming through. Shelty finds even more villagers, this time with even more hoplites in. And he has to click Vanish. He has to click Vanish. A great find there for Shelty. Soup down. He's now classical age god power, and you have to start going, well, Shelty has made some inroads to get himself back into this game. Golmang on the way now for Soup, however. As the temple getting torn down. And at this stage, like, Soup doesn't have himself this divine books tech just yet. Because you can grab that tech, especially with Fuxi, it trains really quickly. And then you can just slam down like 2-ish machine workshops. He's already got them. And you can just pump out units. Get this thing and you can just pump them out so quickly. Meanwhile, to the top of the map here, Shelty, excuse me, is role-playing as Zeus here in this game with these hoplite raids. As Soup does quickly pay attention there. Not quite going to be able to get all three, but he gets 2 villagers. Nice snipe there as the Guaofu back. Do we see any sort of attempt at a heroic age? No, it's just full send all the way here. Fire archers coming out in a big way. More archer ranges, more military academies. There is an armory up. And we see reincarnation now coming through for Soup. Love that technology. Now jumping onto the Peach Blossom Spring, getting some gold from it as well. Only a handful of villagers here, though. It's not that big of an increase in your gather rate. Like a 100% increase on the gather rate. So it's kind of like he's got like now 16 villagers gathering gold. So he does manage to spot a villager over here going into this position here. Going to pick off some more villagers on the back. Soup not paying attention as he's getting charged in onto with these hoplites. But this isn't a good fight for Shelty in the slightest. Those hoplites are going to get absolutely carved up as the 10-pin bowling Tao Wu comes through, knocks everyone, and Shelty pulls back. Aphrodite, however, on the way. Granary down, or silo down, house down, farm starting to come up. Villager differential, still very close. Town center coming up over here for Shelty. Shelty playing a fantastic game number 4 here thus far. As he's sneaking around onto the right-hand corner here to take even more villagers out. Soup pulls his villagers ever so slightly, but the hoplites now motoring in. Couple of fire archers in for the defense, but this is a good trade for Shelty in more ways than one. Thank you for the 3 months there, Sumeridin. Appreciate that, my friend. It's the Shelty hoplites retreating back. And I imagine immediately Peltast are going to be the unit of choice here to deal with what's going on. Now, do we see any sort of ballet? No ballet in for Soup just yet. He's up to nearly, well, he's got 125 pops, struggling just a little bit for that there as the curse gets dropped down. Tao Wu charging forward, getting damage onto everything here. We see a siege crossbow as well. Tao Wu ends up falling on the left-hand corner there. We're seeing a pacifist actually building. That's not what I expected. I expected the Peltast. They are queued up as far as protection comes in, and Shelty has to respect that. He pulls back. But now, this is the sort of position you want to be in for Hades. You know, you get access to Peltast. You've got 3 town centers. You've got 70 villages versus 70 villages. There's no advantage here for Soup. Soup has to create something here, somehow. Now, Shelty can move forward and think about maybe a fortress over here, put pressure onto this town center. That's an idea. As Soup wandering forward with all these fire archers. The Nemean line does manage to get in here, gets a big stun onto that backline fire archer there. Peltast throwing those spears into that ball, getting huge damage done. We are seeing the siege crossbows, however. These do damage. They're really slow. They're really hard to use. But in combination with forest protection and 14.7 pierce damage per second with a 3 population unit, that's a lot of DPS. Now, they do die really quickly. Cavalry are kind of your best bet, I guess. But this is wild from Soup. And we are indeed seeing Shelty going for this cheeky shenanigans. Does Soup? Will Soup notice this? Answer, no. That's a really, really good fortress. And he's probably going to be able to drop sentinels down here as well with the favor. Shelty doesn't need to force anything here. These hoplites aren't necessary. He is charging forward. He's got a very big military advantage. Great control from Soup here. Picks off all of the hoplites. And the fire archers just diving into the town center. Archers retreating back. Great fight there from Soup. Beautiful, in fact. Now, another way to sort of counter this sort of siege crossbow idea is to get out a lot of Petropolis yourself. And now the fortress is up over here. The problem is, if Shelty wants to rotate up to the top side of the map and start sieging this town center, there's a world where Soup can just push faster than Shelty can push because he's already got a whole bunch of siege out. But it looks like he is... Has he noticed? He has noticed the fortress. He has noticed buildings coming up from Shelty. The army coming across. Does Shelty notice the army moving? He hasn't made a move with his army just yet. He's got a huge amount of gold in the bag. Does he have a market up? He's building one. Wants to go to the Mythic Age. Market in the bottom corner. Artemis queued up now. Chiron sniped down. The White Horse Cavalry have arrived for Soup. He's got a huge amount of them queued up in that fortress for the time being here. As the villagers retreating back into this town center over here. They're so quick. 6.6 speed. They do huge damage as well. Does Shelty have himself survival equipment? No, he does not. As the fortress, this will go down pretty quickly. 4 siege crossbows, nothing else here. That's going down incredibly quickly. But the raids starting now onto this position. Those White Horse Cavalry doing huge damage. Villagers up onto this gold mine on the left. Oh, Prodromus coming out. Good little option actually to deal with those White Horse Cavalry are these Prodromus. But you have to be careful not to fight them right on top of all those fire archers. As the archers to come through, getting damage done. Got to micro this. Prodromus against the White Horse Cavalry over on this side. Those fire archer numbers starting to dwindle. Look at the resources now though for Soup. He needs a Mythic Age. He's got it pre-queued. It's the White Horse Cavalry. They're doing so much damage to those archers here. And it's looking like Soup is able to win these fights moving forward. And now Soup just gets keep taking fights. That doesn't even matter. I mean, an earthquake onto the main town center, if that's where the gong is coming. He hasn't even started clicking it up. Soup doesn't care. Shelty needs a full army of something here. These White Horse Cavalry numbers are absolutely insane moving forward. And all the stables also picked off as well for Shelty. He's got a huge amount of those Shade of Hades. So he's got that Zheng Jia in as well. That's going to be huge. Villagers getting sniped down over here. There's no earthquake in just yet. Struggling to get the units out. Hoplites coming through to try and get some sort of a defense here as the White Horse Cavalry to come in. The little Jukaruni there with the Peltast. As Earthquake gets dropped down onto this position to take out the forest protection and everything over on that side. Hoplites do manage to clean up the majority of those White Horse Cavalry, as it looks like even down population here, Shelty able to make something happen with his army. Oh, and wait, the town center doesn't fall. He's got masons and fortified town centers. Earthquake doesn't kill the town center off. I have this feeling he didn't click it right in the middle of the town center. I could be wrong. Shelty Pulling back, going to have to do his little magical move around again. It's a good job to make that happen. The thing about this is that it means the Peltas are nice and close to the front. So he can actually start sniping down those Fire Arch. The Fire Arch is not microing onto Hoplites here. Means they're getting good DPS onto the White Horse Cavalry. As the Chimera comes in onto the back line, starting to eat up those Fire Archers there. This is such a awkward game for Shelty. I feel like he's just not able to get up to full population. Let's do a quick armory check. Soup with full bronze. Shelty with full copper and bronze shields. Missing that bronze weapons and bronze armor at the moment. Now Gong Gong to come through. Siege crossbows rolling in to start taking down the fortified town center. And Shelty needs to do something here. There is this burning pitch helping to take down the ballet and everything else on the front. And Soupy probably doesn't even need to come up here and take a fight against this army. He could just go after buildings, kill villagers. Just literally just roll through here and just kill everything off because he's got Fire Archers with Burning Pitch. Not just yet. Maybe he's researching it. No. But he's got the Fire Archers at the very least and the Siege Crossbows to kill off buildings. These things go down so quickly. And Shelty desperately trying to finish off this ballet, but the repair rate from those Klaufu quite high. Over the 10 months, Bamba is life. And after all is said and done there, Shelty taps out and Soup finds the win. 3 games to 1 with some incredibly solid gameplay throughout here. A bit of a roller coaster ride of stuff that's very, very strange. But I think Shelty just didn't really fully comprehend the win condition here playing as Hades. I think if you just get to that late game without losing everything, like he kind of he pulled himself back into this game after a really, really poor early game. Then just continuing to try and take fights, especially running Hoplites into the Fire Archers. It's kind of like running Hoplites into Axemen, right? But they're ranged. You kind of want to pull the Hoplites back and allow the Peltas to just do the damage because those Hoplites aren't going to do anything. And also if the Fire Archers are attacking your archers, then they're not doing anything. So difficult micro, but I know something that Shelty is probably capable of doing. You can tell he is a scary player, but on this day, Soup more scary. Takes the win. Congratulations to him. If you guys enjoyed this one, make sure you can hit the follow on the Twitch. From the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.